And after this, here Duda immediately pushed d3, which opens the diagonal for this dark square bishop as well as strengthening the pawn structure. And after this, Gukesh decides to castle, and after this, Duda immediately pushed a3, stopping bishop to b4. Maybe he wants to bring back his bishop to c7 so that he can push this d pawn. And now it's better for white to capture this pawn on d5. This is because after takes, now knight takes d4. And here you cannot capture this knight by the pawn. This is because since this d7 diagonal, this c7 diagonal is now opened, now white can capture this bishop first. This is because after takes, now knight takes d5, attacking this queen, and if he decides to capture, simply bishop takes d5. And now clearly you can see that white have these connected pawn structure, whereas black has this isolated pawn on d4, and you can see that white is better. So that's why after this move knight takes d4, it's important for black to capture this bishop. This is because suppose if a game continues like knight at d goes to b5, because this is attacked, and if he moves this knight to attack this bishop, simply bishop to b8, and now white can capture this c4 pawn. And after this, here black can go for queen to b6, and in the next move you can see that black will play a6, which attacks this knight. And there is a line like b4, and as if black attacks this knight, now white can go for c5, attacking this queen. And after this queen moves, simply knight to d6, attacking this rook as well as this bishop. And after bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, queen takes d6, c takes d6, and finally bishop to d7. And clearly you can see that this position is completely equal. But okay, so in the actual game, after the move d5, here he decides to bring back his bishop to a2. But this is a mistake because now Gukesh captured this knight by knight takes f3, and this is because after takes, now Gukesh simply pushed d4, attacking this knight. And clearly you can see that now black have these advanced pawn, and black is doing great. And now you can see that in the next move, white is planning to bring his rook to g1 so that he can create some attack to this king. And the best way to defend this is simply moving this king to h7. But instead of this move, here Gukesh made a mistake by playing king to h8. And this move is a mistake because in the next move, here white is going to bring his queen to f3, and which creates immense pressure towards this f6 knight. And you can see that what is white is threatening. But instead of this, here Duda, instead of playing this queen to f3, here Duda brings his rook to h1. And you can see that in the next move, white is going to bring his bishop to g5 so that he can create an attack towards this h6 pawn. Okay, so now you can see that here white is threatening to capture this h6 pawn, but black can easily defend this by playing h5. But guys, now comes the most interesting part of this game. In this position, instead of playing bishop to g5, which attacks this pawn, here basically white can actually sacrifice his queen by queen takes h6. This is because after takes, now comes bishop takes f6, a discover check by this rook, and you can see that in the next move white will capture this queen, and clearly you can see that this game is completely equal. Okay, so in the actual game, after bishop to g5, here Gukesh decides to just push, as I said. And now you can see that this bishop is attacking this rook as well as this pawn on h5. And suppose if black decides to save his rook, suppose on g7, now comes bishop takes h5. And if bishop takes h5, simply bishop takes f6. Okay. And after queen takes f6, rook takes h5 check, king to g8, and after this queen to h6, asking for queen exchange. And after takes, and clearly you can see that white is a pawn up and in a completely winning position. Okay, so in the actual game, after bishop takes f7, here black blunders by capturing this on e4, pawn on e4. But why this is a blunder? This is because after takes, now you can see that after queen takes g8, simply white can capture this knight. And yeah, but here Gukesh brings his rook to f8. But instead, here black must consider the move which is queen to g6, trying to attack this e4 pawn, and it also attacks this rook. But in this position, here Duda blunders by rook to g1. But why this move's a blunder? This is because now black can play this amazing move bishop to a5, sacrificing this bishop to deflect this queen so that black can capture this bishop on g5 and get closer to this undefended king. And suppose if white tries to attack this, now simply bishop to b6, and in the next move you can see that black is going to push this pawn to d3 so that he can attack this f2 pawn, and clearly you can see that black is winning. Okay, so let's go back to our move rook to g1. Yeah, so let's go back there. Now I think you all understand that why this move rook to g1 is a blunder. So what's the best move? Yes, you are right. Here the best move is not rook to g1, it is simply bringing back this bishop to h4 so that black cannot capture this bishop. And instead of playing bishop to a6, which I mentioned, here black made a mistake by bringing his queen to g6. Okay, so here Duda pushed a4, but instead he must consider rook to g3, so that black can't enter any of his piece into this third rank. This is because now black can play this beautiful move, which is rook to f4, sacrificing this rook. This is because suppose if white captured this rook by his bishop, now comes bishop to h3 check, and after this king moves, black can simply capture this rook, and clearly you can see that now black successfully infiltrate towards this white position. But in the actual game, here black missed that move, and instead he blunders by rook to f3. And this is a blunder because now white can easily neutralize this attack by bringing this rook to a3. And suppose if black captured this rook, now comes knight takes a3, queen takes e4, and after this queen to d3, pinning this queen. And so that's why black has to take this queen, and after takes, and at the end you can see that white will be a rook up. But in the actual game, after rook to a3, here black decides to capture this pawn on e4, and yeah, that's all. And as you can see now in the next move, black is threatening to play bishop to h2, trying to trap this rook, and the best way to defend this is simply sliding this king to d1 so that he can create some space for this rook. But here Duda made a slight inaccuracy by playing But here, instead of capturing this, sliding this rook to f1 might be the better option. But why? Let me know in the comment. And in this position, the final move by Duda is bishop to g5 check. And in this position, Gukesh resigned because you can see that now no one can stop this c pawn from promotion. And to stop this, Black has to lose one of his bishop. And in the next move, White is going to capture this h4 pawn as well. Please make sure to like and hype this video. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.